Hey, what's up you guys, it's Dorothy and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, comment down below what you want to see in the future, click that subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on my post notifications, that way you guys get notified every single time I upload a video. Excuse me, sorry, I was trying to hold in that burp. But anyways, we are going to go into part 2 of chapter 10 of As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson, so let's get right into this video. This video may contain sensitive topics and foul language. If you do not wish to continue, please click off of the video now. You have been warned. But that message wasn't left at your house. It was on a public street. You can't know that you were the intended target. That's exactly what Pip had first told herself, but that's not what she said now. But I do know. I know it was left for me. She didn't before, but standing across from Hawkins now, listening to him say the same thing she'd said to herself, it pushed her the other way, splintering off to the same side as instinct. She knew now, with bone-deep certainty, that all these things were connected, that she had a stalker, and more than that, the person meant to her harm. This was personal. This was someone who hated her, someone close by. And of course the online messages from trolls are very unfortunate, Hawkins said, but this is the kind of thing that happens when you make yourself a public figure. Make myself a public figure? Pip stood a step back to keep the fire away from Hawkins. I didn't make myself a public figure, Hawkins. That happened because I had to do your job for you. You would have been happy to let Sal Singh carry the guilt for killing Andy Bell forever. That's why everything has happened the way it has. And the person clearly isn't just someone who's listened to the podcast, an online troll. They're close by. They know where I live. This is more than that. It was. I understand that's what you believe, Hawkins said, holding up his palms, trying to placate her. And it must be very scary to be an online figure and have strangers think that they're right to have access to you, to send you hurtful messages, but you must have expected that on some level. And I know you aren't the only one to have received hurtful messages from the public because of your podcast. I know Jason Bell has too. After you released season 1, he told me in an unofficial capacity, we play tennis sometimes. He said in explanation, but anyway, I'm sorry. I'm just not seeing a clear connection between these online messages and these other incidents. He said that last word differently, leaned on it a little too hard, so it came out of his mouth sideways. He didn't believe her, even after everything. Hawkins didn't believe her. Pip had known this was how it would be. She warned Ravi, but faced with it now, in the moment she couldn't believe he didn't believe her, now that she believed herself, and the heat under her skin became something else, the cold, heavy downward pull of betrayal. Hawkins lowered the papers on the table. Pip, he said, his voice softer, gentler, like how he might talk to a lost child. I think that after everything you've been through, and I truly am sorry for my part in that you had to take all this on alone, but I think you might be seeing a pattern that isn't here, and it's completely understandable after everything you've been through, and that you might see danger around every corner, but she thought the same thing about herself not so long ago, and yet his words still felt like a punch to the gut. Why had she allowed herself even a shred of hope that this would go another way? Stupid. You think I'm making it up, she said. It wasn't a question. No, he said quickly. I think that you are dealing with a lot and still processing the trauma you went through, and maybe that's affecting how you are looking at this, you know? He paused, pinched the skin on his knuckles. When I first saw someone die in front of me, I wasn't okay for a long time. It was a stabbing victim, young woman, the sort of thing it stays with you. His eyes softened as he glanced up finally and held Pip's gaze. Are you getting help? Talking to someone? I'm talking to you right now, Pip said, her voice rising. I was asking you for help. My mistake. I should have known better. It wasn't so long ago that you were standing in a room just like this, and I asked you for help to find Jamie Reynolds. You said no. Then too, and look where we are, where we all are now. I'm not saying no, Hawkins said, a small cough into his balled-up fist. I am trying to help you, Pip. I really am, but a couple of dead pigeons and a message written on a public sidewalk, that's not a lot I can do with that. You must be able to understand that. Of course, if you think you know you might be responsible, we can look into issuing them a warrant. I don't know who it is. That's why I'm here. Okay, he said, his words starting loud and ending quiet, as though he were trying to hook onto Pip's voice and bring it back down too. Well, perhaps you can go and have a little think of anyone you know who might be responsible for something like this. Anyone who might have a grudge against you, or You mean a list of enemies? Pip gave an amused sniff. No, not enemies. Again, I don't see anything here that indicates that these events are necessarily connected, or that someone is targeting you specifically, or they wish you harm, but if you have any thoughts on someone you know who might pull something like this to mess with you, I can certainly look into having a chat with them. Fantastic, Pip barked, with an empty laugh. I'm so glad that you'll look into looking into it. She clapped her hands once, making Hawkins flinch. You know, this is exactly why more than 50% of stalking crimes go unreported. This exact conversation we've had here. Congratulations on another episode of excellent police work. She darted forward to snatch the papers from the table beside him, the pages ripping in the air between them, cutting the room into his side against hers. She did have a stalker, and now that she thought it through, maybe this could be it, exactly what she needed. Not Jane Doe, but this. One more case, the right one. An opportunity had handed it right to her. The universe might be aligned for once in her favor. This stalker could be the one. A case without the suffocating gray area, one with a clear moral right and clear moral wrong. Someone out there hated her, wanted her to hurt, and she made them bad. And that made them bad. On the other side was her, and maybe she wasn't all that good, but she couldn't be all that bad. Two opposing sides, as clean as she could hope for, and this time she was the subject. If she got things wrong again, there would be no collateral, no blood on her hands, only hers. But if she got it right, maybe this could be the thing to fix her. It couldn't hurt to try. Pip felt a little more room inside her chest as it loosened around her heart, a feeling of resolve still cold in her stomach. She welcomed it back like an old friend. Now, Pip, don't be like that, Hawkins said, the words too careful and too soft. I will be, however I am, she spat, stuffing the papers back into her bag, the angry wasp sound of her pulling the zip. And you, she stopped to wipe her nose across her sleeve, the breath heavy in her chest. I have to thank you for that, too. She shouldered her bag, pausing at the door out of Inner Room for 3. You know, she said, her hand stalling above the handle, Charlie Green taught me one of the most important lessons I've ever learned. He told me that sometimes justice must be found outside of the law, and he was right. She glanced back at Hawkins, his arms wrapped around his chest to protect it from her eyes. But actually, I think he didn't go far enough. Maybe justice can only ever be found outside of the law, outside of police stations like this, outside of people like you who say you understand but you never do. Hawkins unwrapped his arms and opened his mouth to answer, but Pip didn't let him. He was right. Charlie Green, she said, and I hope you never find him. Pip, there was a bite in Hawkins' voice now, a hard edge that she goaded to the surface. That's not help. Oh, and she cut him off, her fingers gripping the handle too hard, like she might just bend the metal, leave her prints in it forever. Do me a favor. If I disappear, don't look for me. Don't even bother. Pip. But the door slamming behind her cut off the end of her name, filling the corridor outside with the sound of old gunshots, 6 of them, burrowing down past her skin and her ribs, rebounding around her chest exactly where they belonged. A new sound joined in, tapping in between the echoes of the gun. Footsteps, someone walking up the hallway toward her in the dark uniform, his long brown hair pushed back from his face, and his eyes widening as he spotted her. Are you okay? Dan De Silva asked as she stormed past the tunnels, their disturbed air colliding as she did. Pip barely caught the concerned look on his face before she was moving on. There wasn't time to answer, to stop or nod, or to say she was fine when it was clear she wasn't. She just needed to get out of here, out of the belly of the station where the gun first decided to follow her home, this very corridor where she walked the other way wearing the blood of a dead man she couldn't save. There was no help for her here, and she was on her own again, but she had herself now and Ravi. She just needed to get out of this bad place and never ever come back to it. That is where I'm going to leave off. This will be a 3-parter. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.